Welcome back to my channel, everyone. I am just thrilled at this stitch here that we're going to talk about today. This is a really beautiful textured stitch. It's a stitch that looks great on both sides of your project and just has a lot of versatility, and it's kind of fun because it's got that nice texture to it. This is called the feather stitch, and you can kind of see it looks like little feathers there, hence the name. But I think it's really fun. It's not too difficult. It does have some steps that are involved here that are a little bit different than normal stitches, but I think it's worth the time, and I think you'll really enjoy this. Now, this sample that I have here for you is a weight 3 yarn with a 3.5mm hook. So you can use, since you're going to use this for whatever you want to use it for, just make sure you have the right yarn and hook combo for whatever you're making. For this tutorial purpose, I do have a weight 3 yarn here, but I have a 6mm hook. And I did that on purpose just so that it would be a little bit easier to see all the stitches involved. But to get a nice tight look here, you know, you'll want to make sure you have the right combo of whatever type of yarn you're using. So for this purposes, we're going to start with just a sample here. I have 15 chain. You want to make sure that you have an odd number of chains to start with. And what you're going to do after you get your odd number of chains is you're going to start with a half double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So that's 1, 2, 3. You want to go ahead and put that half double crochet in that 3rd chain from the hook. Now these stitches were probably going to appear a little looser just because I've got the bigger hook here, but I think you'll still get the point there. So go ahead and chain 1, and then you're going to skip the next chain and do a half double crochet into the next one. Okay, and then repeat that. You're going to chain 1, you're going to skip 1, and a half double crochet in the next. Oops. And then chain 1, skip 1, and then a half double crochet in the next. Wants to go all turny on me here. Chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet in the next. And what this is doing here is just setting up the foundation for us to start our feather stitch. We kind of need this structure here at the bottom in order to begin what looks like those feathers that we saw in the sample. Chain 1, skip 1, we're into our last chain here. Go ahead and put your half double crochet in that last chain. Okay, so this is what you have to begin with. All right, just like that. All right, so for our first row, what we're going to want to do is do a chain 1 and turn, and then you're going to do a half double crochet in that very first stitch right there. So the chain 1 doesn't count for anything. So see this first stitch right here, you're going to want to put your half double crochet right there in the top, and then chain 1. Now here's where the feather part of the stitch comes in. We're going to be working in 3 different places. We're going to work in this chain 1 space right here. We're going to work in this chain down here in the foundation chain that we skipped. And we're going to work in this chain space over here. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is yarn over and go into the chain 1 space, yarn over and drop a loop. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. Now we want to do that same thing with this chain down here at the bottom that we skipped in the foundation row. You're going to yarn over, go into that chain at the bottom, yarn over and drop a loop. And like I said, we want to make sure the stitches are tight, but when you do this draw up a loop from the row below, make sure you draw that up, that yarn up, so that they're all at the same height here. All right. Now the third part of that we said was in this next chain one space here. Yarn over, enter that chain one space, yarn over and draw up a loop, and now you have 7 on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you're going to yarn over and go through all 7, okay? Just like that. And then chain 1 to close, all right? Doesn't look like much yet, but you can see we've involved 3 different places. Now we're going to do that same thing again. And I know we've already used this chain 1 space here. That was our third stop when we did that first stitch there. We're going to reuse that again because we've got this chain space here, this chain 1 down here at the bottom that we need to get. So we're going to reuse this. Our 3 spaces are going to be this chain 1 space, this chain that we skipped at the bottom, and the next chain 1 space. So yarn over, go into the chain 1 space, yarn over and drop a loop, 3 on the hook. Yarn over, go down to that chain that we skipped from the foundation row. I want to make sure I was getting in the right spot. I did. Yarn over, drop a loop, 5 on the hook. Yarn over, now we're working in that next chain 1 space here. Yarn over, drop a loop. Now we have 7 on the hook. You're going to yarn over and draw through all 7. Chain 1 to close it out. Let's do that again. Here's where we finished. We're going to go back into that same chain. So our spaces are this chain 1 space, this chain that we skipped at the bottom, and this chain 1 space here. Yarn over, chain 1 space, yarn over and drop a loop. Yarn over, down into that chain that we skipped. Takes a little finagling in the foundation chain row. It'll get easier as we move on. 5 on the hook. Yarn over, go into this next chain 1 space here. Yarn over, drop a loop, 7 on the hook. Yarn over and go through all 7. Oops, I moved out of the camera there, sorry. Okay, and then we're going to do it again. And we're going to do this so that I can show you the next row too. I want to make sure you see that it's a little bit different. Here's where we ended. We're going to go back into that same chain 1 space. Drop a loop. Now we got to go into this chain down here at the bottom, into that chain we skipped from the foundation row. Drop a loop. Now we're going to go into this next chain 1 space. Drop a loop, 7 on the hook, and then through all 7. Chain 1 to close it out. Sorry, I need to get more yarn there. All right, back into that same chain 1 space. Now down into the chain in the foundation row. Now to the next chain 1 space. 7 on the hook. Go through all 7, chain 1 to close it out. And we have 1 more left, right? Because we still have this chain here that we skipped in the foundation row. We got to do 1 more. We're going to yarn over, chain 1 space, yarn over the chain we skipped in that foundation row right there. This one gets a little squirrely because it's at the end. Patience, it's like I said, it's much easier once you get through it. And then the last one, if you recall, we went into the 3rd chain from the hook. So there's a space between the first half double crochet and the first 3 chains at the beginning. That's where your last one is going, right in there. Okay. There's your 7 on the hook. Yarn over, go through all 7. Chain 1 to close it out. And then to finish the row, there's that chain from the beginning. You're going to go a half double crochet into the top of that chain right there. just into the top of that chain from the beginning. All right, let's just take a look at that before we go on. All right, can you see that? That's part of the feather here going on. All right, we're going to repeat this on the next row. It's just a little bit different because you're not going into these chains down in the foundation row. So let's just take a look at what that looks like. So we finished with that half double crochet there. Do a chain 1 and turn. And once again, we're going to go into that very first stitch. Remember we did that the first time around. There's that first stitch right there. So do your half double crochet in that first stitch. And a chain 1. Okay, and we're going to start right away with going into those 3 places. So let's look at what those 3 places are, okay? Here's a chain 1 space. Here is the space where we're going to use for the one below, as opposed to we were going into a chain in the foundation row. We're going in this space right here. And here's your third one right here. So we're using this, this, and this as our 3 points, okay? So you're going to go yarn over into this first chain 1 space, okay? Yarn over and you're going to go into this space down below. And remember to pull that yarn up so it's at even height with the rest of these. And here's that next chain 1 space to the left, right there. And there's your 7 on the hook. And go ahead and go through all 7, okay? And then chain 1 to close. Now let's look at what our next 3 spaces will be. It's the same thing. So if you take a look at this, here's your first space. Right here below it, it's directly below it, is your second space. And here's your third space to the left. So we'll go yarn over into that first one. There's your one at the bottom. Yarn over, go into the one at the bottom. Okay. And yarn over and go into the one to the left. Go through all 7. And then chain 1 to close. We'll go to the next one. It's the same thing. And you'll once you continue to do this, it'll just start to come naturally. But it's always a good idea to just take stock in where you are and where your spaces are. So here's 1, here's 2 right below it, and here's 3 to the left. And as long as you know where your 3 spots are, you can go ahead and keep doing this. And here's the third. And it does take a few rows for it to start really looking like something, in my opinion anyway. But I think you can probably even kind of start seeing it here a little bit, the back and forth, right? And this is the whole stitch. I think you can see that it takes up a lot of yarn because every stitch is doing a yarn over and into a spot and yarn over again. Oops, 7 on the hook. Go through all 7, chain 1 to close. But that's the stitch. You're going to do this back and forth every time. You're always going to end with a half double crochet in that last stitch with a chain 1 and turn, and repeat this over and over again until you have it the size you want. I do happen to like this yellow. I think it really stands out the actual 3D effect of this pattern. So I hope you like this. I hope you give it a try. And you know, there's so many places where you can use this. I think you'll have fun with this stitch. Let me know how you like the stitch in the comments below. Let me know if you have any questions. And as usual, let me know if you have any other stitches or patterns that you'd like me to do tutorials on. I'm happy to do that. And I would appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. It would really help the channel out. So go out and try the feather stitch today and let me know how it worked for you. Thanks everyone. See you next time.